Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Win the Day Planner Content Library. Today we are super excited to have Nikkimah Davis. Now, Nikkimah is the owner of Safe Roots, and underneath the Safe Roots umbrella, it is she owns also Elite Mindset Academy that works specifically with student athletes. So I'm super excited to have Nikkimah on today because not only does she work with student athletes on their mental wellness and preparation, but she also has a big branch of her business that works with adults in a regular therapeutic setting. So Nikkimah, welcome to the show. Super excited to have you here. Looking forward to digging in here. Just to get us started, talk to me a little bit about the difference in the way that you deal with some of your adult patients compared to some of your younger athletes.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here. And so one of the key things is, and then why I really love to work with our youth and our student athletes is that we get to introduce this idea of being well mentally, right? Being able to prepare for anything, challenges, anything that's coming up mentally. So the difference I would say is that my goal is to break the stigma surrounding mental health and wellness for the youth and to get them to start to understand like, hey, it's cool to, talk about these things. Do you know what a coping skill is? Nerves aren't bad, right? What is it teaching us? Those kind of things. Get them to understand, get them to ask questions. I had someone ask me, what's the difference between confidence and cocky? Right. So being able to explain these things with my adults, a lot of times they're coming and now this is a treatment measure for lack of better words, right? So something has happened, some things have gone on, they have faced some challenges. And so with them, a lot of times we have to go back, right? So tell me about your childhood, tell me about how things was. I have adults that was former athletes that did youth sports, that did it on the college level, some that have done it overseas. And so we're talking about that, and maybe they'll talk about, well, I didn't get to talk about my feelings then, or I didn't get, I feel like I had a lot of expectations on me, and I had to do this, and people were expecting. And so now with the youth, we're able to have a safe space for them to say like, this is how I'm feeling. This is the expectation. Sometimes this is hard. One of the biggest things that gets people frustrated, especially students, is when I don't know what I'm doing. I may be doing something wrong, quote unquote, in my sport, but I don't understand it. And do they have an avenue to say, yeah, I don't understand, like what's wrong? Most of the time we get frustrated and then their confidence goes down. So that's the difference that in between working with adults is more of a treatment thing, where with youth, this is more of a preventative thing. I'm planting seeds so that when they get older, they can say, hey, I remember like this is emotional intelligence. This what this emotion is, this feeling. We play emotions Jeopardy. They identify what emotions is which. And so I'll see that they're able to tell me like, hey, this is shame, this is disgust, where with adults, sometimes we don't even know what we feel. So being able to introduce them to that.
Tell me, staying on that topic there, tell me a little bit about do the students receive you initially when you start talking about these things, and what are their feelings to this? Is this a growing process for them as well?
So it is, and that's the cool thing about it. I get a kind of a kick, like a personal kick out of it, because when I meet with them, most of the time it's because a coach or parent, have said, okay, we're gonna bring somebody in and talk about your mental health. That's what it is. Or it'll be off the heels of you're overthinking it, you're in your mind. I think you need to talk to somebody. So they already feel defensive because the people that are closest to them is saying there's something wrong and I can't help you. Here, so talk to this stranger and let her help you. So I come in and I'm like, okay, guys, like, and I talk to them about like, what is their thought about when they hear the word mental health? And I immediately start with, we're going to have fun. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to break down. I want to hear your thoughts, hear my thoughts. And I talk to them why I tell them I know why they may be apprehensive because how it's approached in the beginning. And once I do that and we have a conversation and they see I have several different activities we do, competitive minds like competitive things. things.
Mm.
And so I leverage the sports and we talk about it. Once we get through like a session, or our time together, they're all in. They're like, oh, okay, this was cool, because it's not what they think it's gonna be. Not somebody just lecturing them, telling them they're wrong, all this. No, we're gonna have this conversation. And I allow them to have the floor. Like, I allow them to talk about. I have kids that want to talk about relationships that's affecting them. They want to talk about school. They want to talk about parents, perception. So they warm up once they kind of understand, oh, this is the wellness area and this can be fun. Wellness is fun.
Yeah, I love that. Talk to me a little bit about this. I know you work primarily with, we talked a little bit about your son being in his early college or high school years. Colleges are getting really big into the mental health. They're starting to be very aware that student athlete mental health is really important at the college level. It's my opinion that oftentimes by the time student athletes get to college, it might be a little bit, not too late, but we should have caught this earlier, because if a student athlete is playing at a college level, it means that they're high achieving, which probably means that they've had a high level of expectations from an early age. Talk to me a little bit about why we need to catch these things a little bit earlier, and what that can do for people outside of their sport, even if they're not going on to play college athletics.
Um, it is super important. Just like when we think of physical medical conditions, it is important to catch things early.
Mm,
We know that, like with anything physical, it's the same thing with the mind and the brain and things like of the emotions, right? So when they do get to college, you're right, they've experienced a high level of expectations. They probably had some success, we could say. And then they're coming into something now where they may have been the best. Now they're on a team full of the best,
mm,
if that's a word,
mhm.
right? Full of the high achievers. And so now my role switches. And how do you know how to pivot? I call it. Do you know how to change when a situation calls for it? Because a lot of adults don't like change. And so if we can institute that, like, okay, now this role is maybe calling for you to change, or maybe it's a different season where you start to explore other avenues outside of the sport, and that's okay too. You use the knowledge that you have and you use it to leverage in a different area or career. So I think it's important, because by the time they get to college, one, now they've kind of lost some of the support. Like, home is
Mm,
not the same anymore. Like, even when you get to come home, your mom's there, your dad, your coaches, all of those. Now you grown. They are saying you are grown. You're supposed to make all these decisions. And so when we put it in the youth level, it just gives you a little bit more of preparation, being prepared. Now, also, you've seen that it's okay to ask for help. You say that
mm.
it's okay to talk about these things. So now here is something you're used to. Oh, okay, I know how to cook because my mom made me cook right there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
She
yeah,
made me wash my clothes.
yeah.
So, okay, these feelings come. I know I'm not supposed to bottle, but I remember I had somebody talking to me about that. So that's why it's important to move. Some of the youth come from homes that there may have been some trauma or some things going on in that home, and now they're specifically by themselves, away from any support that they had before. So that's where it becomes really important to give them those tools, so that now they can use it. They can actually have tools in the toolbox to use.
I love the tools in the toolbox. One of the mental coaches that we spoke to even just made it a simple idea that a tool in the toolbox could be as simple as learning how to talk to a coach about a question that you have. A lot of our student athletes today are scared, or maybe they don't know how to talk to their coaches. They don't know how to approach the coaches. They're used to sending messages via email or Schoology or text, and now they have to say, "Hey, coach, I'm dealing with this." And so I agree. If we can give them as many tools as possible at an early age, we are being preventative, and we're building that mental strength and mental wellness. So when things do get hard, they at least have a better chance of coming out on the other end in a successful manner. So I love that. Nikkimah, thank you so much for being here. We're excited that you were able to join us and just give some insight to the overall picture of what we're trying to do here at Win the Day Planner in our community. We look forward to having you back. Thank you so very much, folks. Thank you for joining us on another edition of Win the Day Planner content series. Make sure you check out the rest of our videos. And as always, win the day.